The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
To find all these great podcasts in one convenient location, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Films and Fermentation. We are, we have had a lot of turnaround this summer so far with our schedules. a lot of like close recordings and far apart recordings and not quite on our normal schedule, but we are here to bring you another episode. This is episode 155, Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks. Pardon the alliteration. We're going to be talking about some movie soundtracks tonight. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm still Leo.
I'm guessing I'm Kevin.
I might be Mike.
We're possibly three friends who like to talk about shit about movies while getting shit-faced. It's just been one of those weeks. In this episode, we're diving into the greatest movie soundtracks because who needs plot when you have epic tunes? Ever notice how a beer tastes better when Layla is blasting in the background? So grab your favorite drink, sit back, and let's toast to the melodies that made these movies unforgettable. Warning, spontaneous karaoke may occur.
Hey, Lee, real quick, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're shit-faced, I want you to say the episode name when you're shit-faced. To see if you can say it.
Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks? Yes. We might get there tonight when you find out what I'm drinking.
All right.
The other night, we were sitting outside and it was nice and warm, so I decided to make myself a margarita. And I found in the fridge a bottle of Jose Cuervo double strength margarita and finished the bottle, which is about a half.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It was a good night. So hopefully tonight's just as good. Don't forget to drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us at Patreon or buying our merchandise at teespring.com. We are part of the Deluxe Edition Network, The Den. That's the deluxeeditionnetwork.com, where you can find out more about our podcast and all the other podcasts who are part of The Den. Don't forget that voting begins on July 1st for the Denny Awards, the second annual Denny's. These are awards given out by the Deluxe Edition Network for various categories of regarding their podcasts. All three of us have been nominated for Best Male Voice on Den Podcasts, and I think somebody got nominated for Podcast of the Year.
Yeah, who was that? Hold on, it's gonna come to me.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Yeah. I believe it was me. I think I got nominated for Podcaster of the Year.
Well, you're not even sure if you're Leo, so
yeah. We are, again, the voting begins on July 1st. As soon as I have the web link for it, I'll be giving it out so our listeners can vote as well. And make sure you go to the Deluxe Edition Network to check out the podcast of the month, our new favorite podcast, HILF, History I'd Like to Fuck, with Dawn Brodey.
Hi, I'm Dawn Brodey, a comedian with a history degree and the host of the podcast HILF, History I'd Like to Fuck. Each episode, I am joined by a new guest who has brought me a subject from history that they want to know more about. Then I hit the books, I dig deep in the annals, and stimulate. We've covered Frankenstein, Houdini, Joan of Arc, Pompeii, the Salem witch trials, right? Join us and find out for yourself that history is a party and everybody's coming.
I think having the anal stimulated is very underrated.
I like the heavy breathing at the end of that.
Yeah.
I just realized that was an echo. I thought she might have been doing it, from the.
Yeah, it was a little echo of her breath at the end. I'm like, maybe we should add it to our podcast, but we usually do it at the end because I'm fat and when I get drunk, I breathe heavy.
Just burp.
Speaking of that, what are we drinking this evening? So, Mike, maybe I'll go first since you want me to be hammered tonight.
I want you to say the name, hammered.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to go for something a little different tonight. Something that was kind of summery, but also very tasty and all that. So I went into the fridge and I broke out one of the old smoky moonshines. So I have some old smoky strawberry moonshine here.
Okay.
I mixed it with a little bit of Sprite. It's in my mason jar here. I've already drank one. This is my second one. So yeah, we might get there, Mike.
Well, I did something similar to that.
Okay.
Except I went into the refrigerator and got out my strawberry lemonade, and then I mixed my strawberry lemonade whiskey from Old Smoky in with it.
I have some of that too, the old strawberry lemonade whiskey.
But I have strawberry lemonade to go with the strawberry lemonade whiskey.
I was going to do a spicy apple pie moonshine, but I found a cinnamon moonshine, but I couldn't find my apple pie moonshine.
Oopsie.
So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go with the strawberry one. Kev, what are you drinking?
I'm going to a classic and a favorite, which is gin and tonic.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are all doing mixed drinks tonight. No beers. Wow.
No beers. Wow.
No beers tonight.
Yeah. This is 2 weeks in a row that Kevin didn't go for a beer. So.
Yeah. But it's very odd for all three of us not to have beers.
I have my Sam Seasonal in the fridge, and I was just like, nah, I think we'll go with the mix,
I'm hoping to have soon. I'm trying to locate it. I haven't found it yet. The Hulk Hogan beer and the Kelsey Brothers beer. I really want to find them so we can try them out at some point.
That would be good.
Mike, maybe when Kevin opens the pool, we can try it then.
Yeah, you got it.
Pool is officially open. It seems to be clean. It seems to be cooperating. I took a couple YouTube courses on how to, check the things and do the things, and I feel confident. So
I thought it was already open. I thought the Ducks christened it.
The Ducks did christen it this week. I forgot about that. Yes, the Ducks were in there. It was open, but I was treating it for a thing that popped up. It was a white water mold, and apparently it's hit a couple pools this season so far. So we reached out to the company, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that happens. You have to deep clean everything that the water runs through, and you need to treat the water with this and that and everything else." And now we seem to be in good shape. So,
all right, coming to you soon. Films and Fermentation wet.
Just tell us when.
Moist.
Moist. Mike, anything special happened this week?
This week in film history. In 1969, The Wild Bunch, directed by Sam Peckinpah and starring William Holden and Ernest Borgnine, is released.
Mike, you're more of a Western film aficionado than I am. Are you a fan of The Wild Bunch?
Yeah, it's a good movie. I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I have never seen it. I might have to check it out. What's your next one there?
2001, The Fast and the Furious film, directed by Rob Cohen, starring Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and Michelle Rodriguez, premieres.
Wow, that fucking movie came out in 2001.
Yeah, man, it's 23 years old.
And they have 23 sequels, so, you know.
I know.
It seems to be. I think I'll admit to having seen the first one in the theater. Might have been a date, but I can't recall.
I saw the first one like when it came to home video, you know, like DVD or whatever. I don't think I watched it. I didn't see it in the theater. I have seen the first one. I can honestly say I have not seen any of them since.
I've seen the first two.
But from the trailers and from things I've heard and read about them, like they've got progressively more insane as the films went along.
They've gone away from the whole premise of the first movie, too. So,
the first movie, Paul Walker was an undercover cop trying to bust a stolen DVD ring.
Yes.
Well, was he trying to bust a stolen DVD ring, or was he? Because I thought he was going after truck. I guess you'd call them truck jackers, not carjackers, but truck jackers. They were
jacking trucks and stealing like DVD players,
whatever the thing was in there. Yeah,
they were selling hot items. And then as far
history podcast for jacking stuff,
as far as I can,
very coordinated Honda Civic way, you know.
Yes, and then as far as I could tell, the last film they shot a car into fucking space.
Yes, I do recall that, and a tank fell out of somewhere.
I like your next fact, Mike.
2005, David Tennant's first appearance as the 10th Doctor in the BBC Doctor Who episode, The Parting of Ways.
It is also Chris Eccleston's last episode.
Yes.
The Parting of Ways, which I actually just watched this morning. I've been rewatching some of the Eccleston episodes.
Megan,
this is before I even saw your facts.
I think they're on Max now. So
yeah, they're on HBO.
All the way up to the 13th Doctor. Then
yeah, because the shooting was on Disney Plus. But yeah, it's a good episode because you get David Tennant out of it, and he was, in my estimation, the best of the Doctors. Although I have been enjoying the new guy.
I hear there's a big Matt Smith, David Tennant debate.
Yeah, well, Matt Smith was the Doctor that most Americans were familiar with because when they started showing the new Doctor Who series in America on BBC America, it started with the Matt Smith series. You know, if you wanted to watch Eccleston, David Tennant, you had to find the older episodes from the BBC. When I started watching it, I had started binging it from Christopher Eccleston on. So, like, my view is that Tennant was better, but there are a lot of people who, like, first were introduced to it because of Matt Smith.
Well, there's always a Tom Baker.
Well, I mean, if you're an old school Doctor Who person, if you watch
the large scarf.
Yeah, he was the fourth Doctor. Like, so if you're somebody who watched it from 1963 on, yeah, you can argue that.
That was my brother's favorite.
Yeah, I can honestly say I'm not a big. I haven't watched as much of the original Doctors as I have the new ones. So
you can find them out there.
Yeah,
believe me, I've seen it.
So I added this next one here because I just saw this maybe an hour ago on Instagram. Fandango's Instagram page presented new movie news. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. A Spaceballs sequel is in the works with Josh Gad and Mel Brooks producing the project. They are producing it for Amazon's MGM Studios department. Gad has been attached to as the star of the film, which has me wondering if he's playing the John Candy part or like maybe like John Candy's son or something like that. Nerdist.com reported this as well, and they added the sentence Not sure if it's going to hold up to the original, but Hollywood's got to try, I guess. Because everything's a sequel or a reboot.
With the prequels and the sequels to the Star Wars franchise that came out and all the other, I mean, there's plenty of fodder for Mel Brooks to really kind of hack away at it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just hoping it has the same humor as the original one did, because the Hulu presentation of History of the World Part 2 was nowhere near as funny as the original film.
Yeah. Things really started taking a downward decline after Robin Hood Men in Tights in terms of Mel Brooks movies.
Well, the problem with the History of the World Part 2 series is they were trying to be like kind of safe with their jokes.
Mm.
And what made the original one funny was they weren't trying to be safe. Like, they just made jokes, and it was pretty funny. You go to it for the irreverence, not for the safety. So, Mike, you have any must-try beer or craft destinations for us this evening?
I do. I have a must-try beer for you. This is Peach Stand Rambler from Odell Brewing Company, Fort Collins, Colorado. Odell pairs a 5.1 alcohol by volume blonde ale with peaches from Palisades, Colorado. It's a hazy yellow brew that has the delicious fruity signature of fresh, ripe stone fruits in the aroma, as well as a great peach flavor, without the sticky sweetness of the real fruit. There is a touch of tartness, however, and a light caramel malt flavor that marries very well with the fruit taste. The base blonde never gets in the way. This is squarely aimed at fresh peach character, but the balance is crafted to make the beer refreshing and very easy to drink. In fact, the mid-palate dryness makes it a crispier beer than most non-fruited.
I always found sticky sweetness to be useful when you're trying to stimulate the anals.
Mm.
Yeah, but you don't like peaches, so it doesn't count for you.
Well, certain peaches I like. Just so you know, Mike, I'm on my third mason jar of strawberry moonshine now, so we're getting there.
You don't have to get up in the morning. I still have to go to work tomorrow.
You have to go to work tomorrow? It's Juneteenth. The national holiday.
It's a fake holiday, so.
It's not a fake holiday.
We're only 17 minutes into the episode, and I'm 3 mason jars in.
Until more people celebrate Veterans Day, it's a fake holiday.
No, I think Veterans Day is a true holiday as well.
Before we get too political tonight, let's go to Kevin's segment.
Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. And stop. Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. Let's go drink some beer.
Is that my cue?
That's your cue, yeah.
All right. Well, not to get too political, this is out of Money Watch. Milwaukee Brewery defends home turf with a not-so-horrible city IPA.
That should be the Philadelphia IPA.
This is based off of recent news. Not sure if you heard. It may not become Milwaukee's new model, but it's a slogan that's helping a soon-to-be-launched craft beer sell. Mob Craft Beer started taking pre-orders on Friday for the ale dubbed, quote, parentheses, not so, end parentheses, horrible city IPA, end quote, which should be available for consumption by early July. We wanted to do something goofy. There's so much tension around politics in our world, and we wanted to have a fun part. Henry Schwartz, CEO of the brewery, told CBS Money Watch. The idea of using a product to send a message came after reports that former President Donald Trump allegedly dismissed Milwaukee as a horrible city in a recent closed-to-the-press meeting with House Republicans on Capitol Hill. I'll skip that part just to kind of keep it not so political. It's been so much fun having Milwaukee be the spotlight for the past few weeks. We're really excited about getting so many people into Milwaukee, Schwartz said, of the upcoming Republican National Convention, a 3-day affair that begins July 15th. It's more societal than political. You hear something, you believe something, added Schwartz of negative impressions formed on the secondhand information. People should come visit Milwaukee and see for themselves what kind of a place it really is, he added. So that's one of the stories for beer news. The other one, a little bit later for you, gentlemen, is Homer Simpson would really love this beer-flavored ice cream. Russian River Brewing in Santa Rosa collaborated with Salt and Straw for its new line of beer-based treats. Salt and Straw is a Portland-based company known for creating off-the-wall ice cream. It's dabbled with blue cheese, sea urchin, potato salad, and smoked Oregon ham. But this brewer series sounds like something people actually might enjoy putting in their mouth. There are 5 flavors: porter, stout, lager, ale, and hazy IPA, corresponding to 5 beers from famous microbreweries across the U.S., including Russian River Brewing right here in Santa Rosa. The ice cream is meant not so much to taste like drinking a foamy, hoppy beer, but rather a deconstruction of flavor profiles of each delicious brew, and then add an extra food-based pairing. For the Russian River selection, for example, the ice cream blends Supplication Ale, a year-aged beer that comes out once a year, with fudge, manchego cheese, and cherry marmalade. The end results say the company is refreshing and tangy flavor. So I'll just go through a couple of the beers that they've made with the ice cream that they made with the beer flavoring. Miter's Black Striped Porter and Bread Pudding. Breakside's Barrel Aged Chocolate Stout. Monkish Space Cookies and Cream Hazy IPA. La Tropical's La Original Lager with Guava.
Guava?
Guava.
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 I would try the chocolate stout one.
Yeah. I would try the cookies and cream one too, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, guava.
The other two are not too.
Yeah.
For a minute there, I wasn't sure where that story was going. It sounded almost like the worst Thanksgiving ever until we got to the ice cream flavors.
Yes. Well, you know.
I don't know. Sticking stuff in the mouth and you making faces over there like you wanted to say something, Leon.
I had my mic off because we're only 22 minutes in and the heavy breathing has started. So I turned my mic off so Kevin could read uninterrupted. And as I'm hearing sticking it in your mouth, I'm thinking of sticky sweet, and I'm thinking of stimulating anals, and we're already off the rails tonight. We haven't even got to the main segment.
And on the other side, you hear Leo going, boom,
feeling like a freak on the leash. If you didn't catch the beginning of the episode, I said, warning, spontaneous karaoke may occur.
We haven't started into the songs yet.
Yeah, so before we get to our main segment, let's take a quick break to hear this message from Coffee Brothers.
I love a good beer, but right now, I could use a good cup of coffee.
Have you heard about Coffee Brothers?
Oh, yeah. They're that coffee company out of New York, right?
Well, they're more like a coffee wizards of New York City. They source these amazing seasonal blends and single origin coffees. It's like a flavor adventure in every cup. And get this, they roast everything in small batches. None of that mass-produced stuff. It's like each bean gets the VIB treatment.
VIB?
Very important bean.
Sounds fancy, but is it worth it?
Definitely. Plus, they're a 2-person team. I mean, that's dedication right there. 2 brothers, 1 mission to caffeinate the world. And right now, you can save 10% on your order. I mean, who doesn't love a good discount?
All right, you've convinced me. Let's get some Coffee Brothers now.
Coffee Brothers, where every cup is a sip of perfection. Save 10% on your next order with the code FNF10. That's FNF10. Cheers to great coffee. All right. All right, we are back from our little break with Coffee Brothers. Thank you for sticking with us. Tonight, we are going to our main segment. But before we do that, I got a notification just now from Reddit. because I haven't been able to keep up with all the notifications from before. I just got another one right before we started. The other day I posted on Reddit the 5,000 downloads that I told you guys about the other night.
Yeah, I got the email from BuzzFeed.
Buzzsprout.
Yeah,
and I posted it out.
So we have crossed the 5,000 download threshold on Buzzsprout, and I posted something about it on BuzzFeed, not BuzzFeed, on Reddit the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got a notification from a account called Podtastic Audio, who said, "Amazing guys, congratulations." So thank you for that, Podtastic Audio.
Thank you.
Reddit.
When do we get our free toaster?
It's in the mail.
This for a free toaster.
Yeah, the check's in the mail.
We're doing it for a football phone.
So
Man,
we
I
are.
wanted a football phone. Do you know how many bank accounts I opened just to try to get a football phone?
I had one of those phones growing up that was see-through, so you could see all the pieces inside it.
Yeah, that's what I was limited to myself.
All right. So our main segment this evening is ready, Mike? Sonorous cinematic soundtracks, and that is after almost 3 whole.
That was okay. Let's see how well you do at the end of the show.
Sonorous cinematic soundtracks. So what we did, each of us put together a list of movies that we enjoyed the soundtracks for. So when we first thought about this last week, the immediate thing was we were putting all these movies together, and I had Les Mis on my list at one point. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to stay away from musicals because we had done a musical episode in the past already.
Yeah,
we talked about our favorite musical movies. So I said, I'm just going to stick to films that have soundtracks with popular songs on them that are just really fun to listen to. Each of us came up with 6 movies. I know it's an odd number, but we couldn't stop, adding things to our list. We had to try to control ourselves. But we came up with 6 movies each. There are other movies out there that I know we forgot or that we didn't have on our lists. We'll mention them a little bit later. I also have a shout-out section that we'll be doing at the very end of this for all the people on all the socials who contributed to tonight's episode by letting us know what soundtracks they were talking about. But before we get into this, I'm going to play a little quick clip from the top songs from movies that I found on YouTube earlier today. So here we go. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can watch along with the video. If you're listening to the audio podcast, see if you can guess what movies these songs come from. Of course, the video needs to have sound.
Yeah.
So let's try that again.
To the best around.
This is what it
When doves
like
cry.
when doves cry.
Yeah, so the sound is not working on the video.
Power of
Power of love.
Cry, little sister.
Oh man, I missed that one.
The circle of life. My Sharona. Lonely, Hey, Mr. Tallyman, telling me banana. Daylight.
Stop us now.
Stand by me.
I got you, babe.
babe.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Game on,
Go.
I have
I don't know
idea.
this one. I fell into a burning ring of fire.
I'm gonna feel it.
Purple rain, purple rain. Right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that shit show. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, my intention there was to play a video from YouTube that had all these great songs on it, but the audio wasn't working. So I hope you enjoyed that brief karaoke segment.
We serenaded you.
Warning, karaoke may break out in this episode. So why don't we go to our list then? So we each have 6 movies. I guess we'll do our round robin like we normally do for this.
Sure.
And we will talk about the movie.
Smaller though.
What's that?
Could you have made the font any smaller?
You're welcome to make the font bigger if you want. I made it smaller because when I had it at the normal size font, it was like 27 pages.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to make it a little
I'll
easier.
just zoom in.
Just zoom in, yeah.
My font looks fine on my end. I didn't think.
Kevin's got those old eyes.
So do I. I wear glasses so I can
the
read
bottles, the Coke bottle glasses.
So we're each going to talk about one of our movies. We're going to look at the soundtrack list, talk about some of the songs, maybe sing a few, and why we chose those films. So I'll start then. My first movie on my list of great movie soundtracks is Goodfellas. Now, when you're talking about somebody who knows how to add music to a soundtrack, Martin Scorsese is one of the first names that pops up. He loves to use popular songs in his soundtracks and not just like, scores. In fact, if you look at some of his original screenplays, in the note sections on the sides and the margins, you'll often see his handwritten notes, which songs he would like played in which episode, in which scenes from the film. So he's very meticulous about the music he plays. And for my money, his best soundtrack has to be Goodfellas. You have songs like Tony Bennett's Rags to Riches on there. Sincerely, Speedo, Stardust, Look in My Eyes. These are all great songs from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Life is But a Dream. Baby, I Love You from Aretha Franklin. Beyond the Sea. Sunshine of Your Love, which gets played during one of the, scariest scenes in the film where you see Jimmy Conway, the Robert De Niro character, scheming to kill everybody. Manish Boy, Layla, which has the great instrumental scene where you see all the dead bodies rolling up from the Lufthansa heist.
Yep.
Jump Into the Fire and Memo from Turner from Mick Jagger. Pound for pound, an amazing soundtrack, I think.
It is.
I think my favorite songs on here, I love Rags to Riches. I used to sing that with my a cappella group. I love Beyond the Sea from Bobby Darin. But I think the most iconic song on this soundtrack has to be the piano exit from Layla. That gets played over that scene of all the murders.
You know how he did, what was it, the VH1 Storytellers, or maybe it was, I don't know, or maybe it was MTV Unplugged, but he did Layla acoustic slow.
Oh, Eric Clapton you're talking about.
Eric Clapton, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was MTV Unplugged.
MTV Unplugged. It took me at least a good 3 years to realize that and the Layla from Goodfellas was the same song.
Because the one on the Goodfellas soundtrack is when he was with Derek and the Dominoes, and it's a very fast, hard rock version of the song, and then it breaks into that piano concerto at the end. And the Layla he played on Unplugged was his version of it, which was a much slower, more like bluesier version of the song. Both great versions of the song. But yeah, I think that piano exit portion in Goodfellas is just such an iconic scene.
Well, you hear that, and that's the scene you think of. That's what you think of when you hear the piano exit.
I think that's what makes a good soundtrack is like you hear a song and you immediately think of like a movie. Like when I hear that one Rolling Stones song, it's just a shadow away. It's just a shadow away. Like the first thing I think of is Platoon.
Okay.
Because it's like that song's used in like every fucking war movie, like since the 80s. Like any Vietnam film uses that song. Oh, I just thought of another film that should be on the list. I'll have to do it in the honorable mentions later.
Yeah,
I should start making a note of this so I remember later on. Hold on, I'm gonna make a note of this. I'm gonna do it on this document here. So we'll do some honorable mentions here.
So while you're doing that, why doesn't Mike?
Mike, go ahead. You go to your next one. Go to your first one, rather.
My first one here is Highlander. Man, Queen rocked this whole movie.
Yeah, they essentially had the album. It was
it was their Kind of Magic album was the soundtrack for this movie.
I'm scrolling down to your first one here. So Highlander, yes.
A Kind of Magic, 1 Year of Love. The one that really hit that movie is Who Wants to Live Forever. My God. Princess of the Universe is great too.
Princess of the Universe is good too. That's a good pump up song,
That's Give Me the Prize, Kurgan's theme. I love that one too.
Well,
Yeah.
I got one I got to add to the honorable mentions now, just based on Queen. We'll talk about it later, but you'll see it as I'm adding it here.
I don't know if
I'm adding it to the top of the document, so we can talk about it later. So your first one is Highlander. Yes, you've talked about this before because you did Highlander as your film that time forgot.
Yeah, I did that. We did that when we did it with Oh Hallows Eve.
Again, my favorite part of Highlander is that the Spaniard is played by the Scottish guy, and the Scottish guy is played by a Belgian man.
And the Belgian man is played by the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Tell me about your homeland of Scotland. So anything else you want to add there, Mike? Hey, Megan.
Megan. Who wants to live? Okay, let's keep going before I start singing.
So Kevin, what's your first one?
My first one, it would help if I had my list up on it. Oh, Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. What's your name? Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about this, first of all, this soundtrack has 32 tracks to it. And they're all awesome. Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. Land of a Thousand Dances by Wilson Pickett, which for me always brings up the great outdoors. Joan Baez, Blowing in the Wind. Fortunate Son by CCR. I can't help this is it really has
in every Vietnam movie.
Pretty much as it walks you through his life and the years, you are getting a sample of like 4 or 5 songs from each of the years that the movie highlights. Respect by Aretha, For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield, Break On Through, The Doors,
Break On Through to the Other Side.
Mrs. Robinson, Simon and Garfunkel, Let's Get Together, The Young Bloods. So Turn, The Birds.
On the Road Again.
Yeah, Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
And
my
honestly, I know we're not talking about movie scores or orchestral or anything instrumental, but it's one of the most notable instrumental score like themes. You play it and people just know it,
Mm-hmm. That's one of those things, like certain directors have like people that they always turn to, and Robert Zemeckis directed Forrest Gump, and Alan Silvestri was always like his go-to guy for compositions, and that's what you get the Forrest Gump themes from Alan Silvestri. So yeah, and it's part of the soundtrack. It wouldn't be if it wasn't iconic.
Right.
I actually, like, as much as I shit on Forrest Gump all the time, I did love the soundtrack enough to buy it. Like, it came out in 1994, and if I remember, I think it was a 2 CD set.
It was
back when people listened to CDs, because 36 songs or 32 songs was a lot of songs for one CD. So it was a 2 CD set. And and you can see, like, because the movie goes through so many decades, that the songs go through the decades too. Like, I remember that the Hound Dog one was one of the early scenes when he was a kid and he meets Elvis Presley, and he teaches him how to do the
Elvis
dance.
ends up staying in his house or something because it's like a room and board or whatever.
He models his dance on the way that Forrest dances.
Right.
Yeah, some great songs. Yeah, and the Land of a Thousand Dances. Yeah, because that's the end scene from Great Outdoors. So my next film, let me get back to the top of the list here, is, so I had trouble choosing one Tarantino film to pick, because at least early in his career, Tarantino is very similar to Scorsese in that he'd like to score his films with popular songs. And so I wasn't sure what I wanted to pick, and I didn't want to go multiple Tarantino movies, so I have on my list Pulp Fiction / Reservoir Dogs. Because of all his films, these are the 2 that I actually owned the CDs for when they came out. Pulp Fiction in 94 and Reservoir Dogs in 92. Pulp Fiction, you have Jungle Boogie, Let's Stay Together, from Al Green.
Son of a Preacher Man.
Son of a Preacher Man. You get a lot of like guitar instrumental songs in that film, like Surf Rider and Bustin' Surfboards and stuff like that. Girl, boom, 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 you'll be a woman soon. Soon.
I like that the Pulp Fiction soundtrack actually had clips from the movie play before certain segments.
Yeah.
What was the theme that actually, I mean, it was played on the radio when the movie came out, but it was really just guitar.
Yeah, that was can't think of it. That's the first song on there, I think, Miserlin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one. It's either that one or I can't remember who played the song, but it was like a surfboard instrumental. Yeah. Yeah, and it's I think that might be the Bustin' Surfboard one. But yeah, it's a great soundtrack. And then Reservoir Dogs had a great. So they had Stephen Wright, who was like one of the best like stand-up comedians of all time, who's very, very deadpan, and he's the DJ introducing all the songs in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get films like Little Green Bag, Hooked on a Feeling, I Gotcha. You thought I didn't see it now, did you? Ha. You get Magic Carpet Ride, Fool for Love, Stuck in the Middle with You, which is the scene when he's cutting the cop's ear off.
Man, I can't hear that without thinking that scene.
It's. You know? I was going to say that. I was just about
the cop who's tied to the chair.
I was just about to say the same thing because it's like
this on the right. Here I am.
That song now. You just think of that scene. You get the coconut song. You put the lime in the coconut.
You put the lime in the coconut. And that's it.
And like the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, this soundtrack also had clips from the film in it. Because you get to hear the Madonna speech from Quentin Tarantino, where he talks about how Like a Virgin was about a girl getting fucked by a big dick. And then you get like Stephen Wright's introductions to a lot of the songs. It's a great soundtrack. Michael, your second one? Talk about fun scores.
Yeah, my second one might take your breath away when you're playing with them boys in the danger zone. You know, that's Top Gun.
Anything Kenny Loggins from the 80s was the soundtrack king of the 80s.
He was.
Didn't he do like Karate Kid 2 or something like that?
No, he did Footloose.
Footloose. He did what's that one with Gregory Hines and
White Knights with Mikhail Baryshnikov?
No.
Hear No Evil, See No Evil?
That was Gene Wilder.
No, Billy Crystal.
Running Scared.
Running Scared. He did Running Scared. Yeah.
But yeah, Top Gun, man. I mean, you got the anthem itself.
The anthem. Top Gun anthem. You got, anytime, even now, I want to go sit in the Afterburner game and listen to Danger Zone play.
I love that game.
The sit down version. You got to sit
down. It had to move with your control.
Right.
Absolutely.
Listen to Danger Zone.
Well, Kevin and I have a different interpretation of Danger Zone because whenever we hear it, we think of Archer.
I started rewatching Archer now. That's back on.
Oh, it's so great.
We got
Take my breath away. I'm upset that the soundtrack doesn't include Tom Cruise and the other guys singing "You Lost That Love and Feeling."
You lost that love and feeling. Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
But they do have
it is a fucking amazing soundtrack.
Good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Totally 80s, man. Like that soundtrack screams 80s.
Yes.
Kev, your second one is a great one too. Oh man, it's so good.
So if you didn't get it from Forrest Gump, you're going to get it from this because there's a lot of crossover between Forrest Gump and Almost Famous from 2000. Some of the common threads, you got Simon and Garfunkel. You got the Beach Boys. You got Leonard Skinner. Some new ones here. Some new ones here. So Almost Famous. Great movie, too. Really interesting movie. That was not really a biopic. It was based off of Christopher Columbus's working with Rolling
Cameron
Stone
Crowe.
magazine, right? Cameron Crowe. Sorry, Cameron Crowe. Right. Chris Columbus. My God. But it's got a great soundtrack. We got Feel Flows from Beach Boys. We got Fever Dog from Stillwater. My favorites from A Simple Man from Leonard Skinner. That's one of my favorites.
It's another one like you said with Goodfellas. When you hear Layla now, you can't help but think about that scene. When you hear Tiny Dancer now, Tiny Dancer, it's hard not to think about that scene on the bus.
Yeah. Cat Stevens. Yeah. Count the headlights on the
highway.
Seen All Good People from Yes. Man, it's just a lot of good songs on here. The One Way Out from the Allman Brothers.
I mean, it takes place in the 70s, I want to say.
70s, I want to say, like early 70s.
A lot of those like 70s rock, anthems are on it. It's great. It's such a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's I feel like I just watched Almost Famous within like the last year or two.
I haven't seen it in a while, and it's got three girls that Kate.
You got Kate Hudson.
You got
Anna Paquin and Anna Paquin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie, man.
And Zooey Deschanel. I forgot she was in it
Zooey
too.
Deschanel and the lead singer of the band is Jason Lee.
Billy
Crudup's the guitar player.
Billy Crudup. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one I think I have to give a little rewatch too soon.
I am.
My third movie is one that I actually just rewatched like a week or two ago. It is American Graffiti. Came out in 1973. The film takes place during the 50s. So it's a very 50s doo-wop heavy soundtrack. It is an amazing film.
I like that they got. I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, say what you're going to say.
I'm going to steal your thunder. I know.
No, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
Throughout the movie, you have Wolfman Jack, who is introducing the songs and pretty much, orchestrating the whole soundtrack throughout the movie.
DJing it. He's DJing it.
Yeah.
He's also a character in the film. You do see him at the end when Richard Dreyfuss goes to him to try to find a girl that he's been looking for. So the movie has 41 songs on the soundtrack.
Holy shit.
So it's another what's that?
How many
DVDs? This had to at least be 2. It might have been 3.
It was one LP album.
Yeah.
For our listeners who aren't familiar, a CD stood for compact
disc.
Where you would
store this one actually might have been a double cassette.
Actually, at that time period, it might have been a double 8-track.
No, dude, if this was on an 8-track, you only had 8 songs on an 8-track. This would have been 5 8-tracks.
You got the entire collection of American Graffiti.
Yeah. The thing that's cool about this though is like the songs are very singable. You can sing along with all of them. They're all popular songs, even though they're older. A lot of these I did with the acapella group, because I sang with the 50s and 60s doo-wop acapella group. So I'm very familiar with a lot of these songs, and just very, very
because everybody else in the acapella group grew up with those songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you got Gonna Rock Around the Clock, 16 Candles, Runaway, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, At the Hop, See You in September, a lot of Beach Boys songs on here, Surfing Safaris on here, Chuck Berry, Smoke in Your Eyes from the Platters, Little Darling, Little Darling, you got Barbara Ann on here, Barbara Ann,
Johnny B. Good, sung by Calvin Klein.
Yeah, Johnny B. Good from Chuck Berry. They call me the Great pretender.
They
I
call me the
only
great
have
pretender.
eyes for you. Ooh, that makes me think of another one I got to put on the.
Oh, Jesus.
Honorable mention.
We're never going to get done tonight with this honorable mention.
It just popped in my head as I was singing "Only Eyes for You." What do you got? To the aisle. Do you want to dance?
Do you want to dance?
Party doll, come go with me. You're 16, you're
Chantilly
beautiful,
ladies.
and you're mine. Love Potion number 9, Teen Angel. Yeah. Good night, sweetheart.
Well, it's time to go.
Which we were probably more familiar with from Three Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
But as a 50s doo-wop song.
I hate to leave you. I really must say
good night.
Good night.
Before we sing the entire American Graffiti soundtrack, we're going to go to Mike's third choice there. Mike, what do you got?
I've got the line. Exactly.
Shabba-doo.
I got the Lion King.
Years ago, Kevin went to see the Lion King live on stage in Philly. And he told me that he started laughing right during the opening number because he was imagining my interpretation of it, which was yabbity dabbadoo shabadoo.
I'm like in one of the later, Lion King 1.5 or whatever. Timon's character goes, "What's on the menu?" Yum, yum.
These are all good songs, Mike. I think I could sing probably multiple verses of each one of them.
Circle of Life. Just can't wait to be king. Can you feel the love tonight? Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Hakuna Matata.
What a
wonderful phrase.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys seen Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's daughter singing
No.
Just Can't Wait to Be King on stage?
No.
It's so fucking bad. It's an obvious example of nepotism in Hollywood. Because the kid cannot sing. I feel bad for her. And the other people on stage are trying so hard to cover it up.
So I'm seeing who performed the music. This was Tim Rice and Elton John, though, that did the arrangement, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Tim Rice did the music. I think Elton John did the lyrics or something like that. And I mean, it's a great. It was an Oscar-winning soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean,
it's. I remember seeing this in the theater when it came out, and you get that big opening number, and then after that they bring out the baby Simba and he holds it up, and then it fades to black, and then it goes boom, Lion King real quick.
Yeah.
And the guy in the back of the theater went, "Wow,
that was a good opening. It was a very good opening.
It's a great movie.
Guy in the back of the movie went, "Wow, that's a great movie."
Best version of Hamlet I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is one of the best versions of Hamlet. But yeah, it's a great soundtrack. Can you feel the love tonight? Nala gives Simba those fuck me eyes.
Come hither.
At last, our friend is doomed.
When he was a young warthog.
When I was a young warthog. Nobody ever stood downwind.
Puma, not in front of the kids. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys had a great Nathan Lane performance.
Yeah.
Jeremy
I love
Irons is
doing the hula.
Who?
I'm doing the hula in that.
The hula. Yeah, the first instance of drag in Disney films.
Not true. There was plenty of drag before.
Yes, plenty of drag before. Pretty sure there was drag in Robin Hood.
Yes.
Yeah, such a great movie and great score too. Another one with an awesome score.
Yeah,
Hans Zimmer. Mike, anything else you want to say about Lion King?
No, we're going to move on to Kev's.
Kev's third one is
Garden State.
This is a Zach Braff film.
This is a Zach Braff film. Film. Yeah. Now, I had to be introduced to this film, and I really liked it. It's a little odd. It's a little quirky. The music, though, is amazing.
Is this the one with Natalie Portman?
It is. It's the one with Natalie Portman and one of the Skarsgårds.
I think this is the film they consider the introduction of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Yeah, like the girl that's like beautiful but quirky.
Yes,
and
she was quirky. She was at a clinic when she meets the main character. So, like, she was just an odd girlfriend, you know? It's got the Shins. It's got Coldplay. It's got a couple songs from the Shins. I guess maybe I knew that I liked this because I also like the music that Zach Braff would use in Scrubs. You know, he uses people like Colin Hay from Men at Work. He used Simon and Garfunkel, you know, and it's not like the songs that you always hear from these artists. Like, this is The Only Living Boy in New York by Simon and Garfunkel, which is it's known, but it's not as highly used. Don't Panic by Coldplay.
he also uses some good like covers, like Winding Road from Bonnie Somerville's
Beatles
cover. So
yeah. Let Go from Fro Fro. Or Frau Frau. Such Great Heights by Iron and Wine. Like, these are songs I listen to on a Saturday morning while I'm drinking my coffee and just enjoying my morning, you know? So I mean, I really like this one. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's been a really long time since I've seen that film. You're probably a bigger Zach Braff fan than I am.
This was who's the guy that plays Sheldon Cooper?
Can't think of his name right now.
Parsons.
Jim Parsons.
Jim Parsons. One of his earlier movies too. Yeah. So,
all right. So my next film, I am on my fourth one, right? Yeah, my fourth film is
the one you stole from everybody.
Yeah, I stole it from everybody. I actually, because this originally was Les Miserables, and I took it off the list and put this one in instead. I could have did volume 2 and 3 as well, because they all have amazing soundtracks, but I went with the original. Go ahead, Kev.
One thing about James Gunn movies is you're going to get great music.
You're going to get great soundtracks, and it fits the character as well. So I'm talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, which had an amazing soundtrack that was mostly played by the Star-Lord character in the film, and it's such a good soundtrack.
The soundtrack is a character in the movie of itself.
It is. Like I was going to say, like, just from the opening scene alone, like you see him dancing to Hooked on a Feeling and like trying to steal the orb or wherever the hell it is at the beginning, and it's just such a great way to open that movie. And then each consecutive movie had a similar, like, fun opening with a fun song to it. So you got, like, Hooked on a Feeling on here, Spirit in the Sky, I Want You Back from the Jackson 5, Come and Get Your Love from Redbone, Cherry Bomb. That's a great scene where they're all walking together in uniform and yawning.
Cherry Bomb!
Cherry Bomb! The Pina Colada songs in it, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And then there's this says Ooh Child from the 5 Stair Steps, but that was Chris Pratt singing it in the film. It's the dance off, bro. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Come on, Gamora. No, okay, take it back.
Someday
things are gonna get easier. Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing you're in love with me. Such a great soundtrack. It's an amazing, like, poppy.
Oh God,
soundtrack.
it's a great soundtrack.
Yeah, and the second and third one too. Both are really, really good soundtracks. Mike, your third one is a good one too.
My
rather,
third
I'm
one is
sorry.
Beverly Hills. Oh, my fourth one is Beverly Hills Cop, the original. My God, there's so many good songs on this one. Not as many.
Heat is on. Heat is on. Mike.
You got-
Which everybody learned to play on their little Casio synthesizer at home.
And which is called
Axel F.
Axel F. The song is named after the main character.
You got Patti LaBelle, New Attitude. You got Pointer Sisters, Neutron Dance. Of course, Glenn Fry, The Heat Is On.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's a great soundtrack.
Just to give you an update, Mike. This is, I think 5.
Are you going to be able to edit this tonight?
I'm off tomorrow, brother, and this doesn't have to go out the next Tuesday, so I'm good.
I'm on my third, and I'm working on my fourth.
Fortunately, we got a week between recording and editing, so I got time to recover. So yeah, it's a great soundtrack. Have you? Are you interested in the fourth one at all?
No.
It's going to be on Netflix.
I stopped it. I watched 3, and I'm sorry, I gouged my eyes out after a while. I stop at 2 anytime I ever see it again.
2's got a good soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of repeats from the first film, but there are some other songs on there too.
Surprised they actually didn't reach out to Eddie Murphy to record any music for his.
Let's see here, Kev. Your fourth movie is
Yes, another
Speaking of
80s
Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins movie. Footloose, your goose. Put on your Sunday shoes.
Let's hear it for the boy.
Let's hear it for the boys. Denise is Denise Williams. Denise. My
Nice.
mother was named Denise. It wasn't spelled like that. And I'm thinking of Key and Peele skits in my head. D-Nice.
D-Nice. Aaron.
Aaron. Almost paradise. Holding out for his hero. I was going to put on Short Circuit 2 for Holding Out for a Hero. But I'm glad I held off and Footloose. Yes. Sammy Hagar went solo for The Girl Gets Around.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, modern audiences might only know the reboot.
Probably.
The Huffs.
With one of the Huffs, yeah.
One of the Huffs.
But check out the 1984 Footloose classic with Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Everything goes back to Kevin Bacon. Philadelphia.
And,
Well, see,
Kevin Bacon.
you should have done that one after Guardians of the Galaxy because Kevin Bacon,
because Kevin Bacon is the hero. He talks about Guardians of the Galaxy. Why did they stick the sticks up their ass? So cruel. Why did they put the sticks up their butts? Real hero, Kevin Bacon. You guys see the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
Yes.
Where they abduct Kevin Bacon?
Give to Star-Lord? Yes. Good Lord.
Hey, Mike, I'm feeling it.
I bet.
My next one.
What's the name of this episode?
The name of this episode is Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks.
Okay, he takes a breath because he's got to get it.
I got to tell you, though, I broke the seal during halftime, and I'm sorry about it because now I got to go bathroom again.
Grab a bottle.
I'm almost. I've almost emptied the Sprite bottle, so I'll have plenty of room afterward.
Oh, there you go.
My next movie is from 1991. It's probably a lesser known film, but man, it's a really good movie, and mostly because of the soundtrack. It's The Commitments. So this is a movie about a group of people in Ireland who are musicians, and they decide to start a band, but they decide to do a sort of like blues cover band playing all these songs that were not traditional in Ireland at the time. Man, such a good fucking soundtrack. And I don't have any of the people who sang the original songs on the soundtrack on here because all of these songs are sung by the Commitments actors. who make up the band in the film. But you have Mustang Sally, Take Me to the River, Chain of Fools, At the Dark End of the Street, Where We'd Like to Meet, I Can't Stand the Rain, Try a Little Tenderness, I Never Loved a Man, Midnight Hour, Bye Bye Baby. It's a great fucking soundtrack. And a very underrated film, and one I probably would have put on my films that time forgot had we not done this episode prior. So, because this is a really good movie, full of like actors who are probably not really well known, mostly Irish actors at the time who are, not household names. I think the biggest actor in the film was Colin Meaney, who played Chief O'Brien on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he was a minor character in the film. But this is a great movie, great soundtrack. Mike, your next one.
Don't you forget
about me.
Don't
you.
I had a student in the filmmaking class who did it. He did his short film, and he did the Jude Law. Not Jude Law. Who am I thinking of? Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson, yeah.
Fist in the air with the Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me at the very end. I was very impressed. He was playing to my weaknesses in these movies.
I mean, I feel like all of Howard Hughes' movies have at least one main song.
Not Howard Hughes, my friend John Hughes.
John Hughes, sorry. Wrong.
Howard Hughes made airplanes.
Yes, he did. He did.
And piston jars because he was weird.
Long fingernails.
Right.
I am four and a half moonshines into this episode, and I knew it was John Hughes.
Yeah, well, I always get names wrong.
No, but you're right, because he did movies like 16 Candles and
there's always like one main song for the whole.
You could put Ferris Bueller on this list because it's got a great soundtrack too. Yeah.
I should just put down John Hughes movies.
Yeah, John Hughes movies.
That should have been my number 5.
Soundtrack.
But I think you picked the right one though, because I think of all the John Hughes films, this one definitely has probably the best soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by far.
Because you got, just so when you hear again, like we said with other things, when you hear that Simple Minds song, what do you think about? You think of, Judd Nelson at the end of the film, fist in the air, walking down the field. That thing that gets in your head. I also think of what's the song that plays when they're doing they smoke the joint and they're all dancing in the library.
Is that the reggae?
I think, is that the reggae song, or is that
the dream?
Because I feel like there were words to that song. I don't remember though which scene it was, what song it was.
Songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lot of really known songs in it, but it's a great soundtrack just to listen to. But Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds is the main song that everybody knows from this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I scrolled down to look at Kevin's next one. I don't know what he's doing right now to the notes.
I'm just adding the song so that you guys can look at what the songs were.
I'm too drunk right now to know what the fuck he's trying to do.
All right.
Is this the loser?
This is loser. This is loser. Let me put that in there. Loser. Okay. And these are the songs that are on the album. They don't conform to the list that you had made because I added this so late. Mm-hmm. But we can appreciate the songs that are on here because we all know them and we all love them.
I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
Listen to Iron Maiden, maybe with me.
So, did you think there was a girl singing in that song when you first heard it?
I did. I don't know nothing of Wheatus, and this was probably their only hit, but whatever.
Katie and I went to see the Bare Naked Ladies in concert one year, and Wheatus opened for them. And the lead singer comes out and he starts singing a song. And before he breaks into that part, he goes, "Yes, it's me. It's not a girl." And then he starts singing that part. And it's like, wow, it was just the same guy singing both parts in that song. Pretty fly for a white guy.
Right? So it's got The Offspring, which is great.
I'm blue.
I do know of Fastball, but this is not the Fastball song I know of.
You got
but I do know What's
Blink
My Age
182.
Again? Blink
What's my age
182.
What's my age again? They got the Bad Touch on there.
Bad Touch.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, but let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
Foo Fighters is my band. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Everclear actually plays a role in it because the character played by Jim from American Pie. I can't think of his name right now.
Jason Biggs.
Invites Mia Savari,
who was also from American Pie.
Who was also from American Pie, to the concert, the Everclear concert. So they have a couple songs on here. We have I Will Buy You New Life and So Much for the Afterglow. Song was used.
You got She's So High
above me.
She's so lovely.
So and look, it's a 2000. I think the movie was 2000. It's a good soundtrack for the 2000s. I mean, when you think of it, it's a very good soundtrack.
There's not a lot of soundtracks in the 2000s.
Well, I'd say, like I said this in the intro, like not every movie is great, but some movies still have a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
And Losers one was like, it's not a great movie. They tried to I wanted to say land on the success of American Pie by having Jason Biggs and Mina Savari in it, but not a great movie, but a great soundtrack.
Yep.
My last one, which I added earlier because I was like so angry that I forgot about it, is The Blues Brothers from 1980, starring John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, the original Blues Brothers film, all about blues songs from like the 60s and 70s.
God.
Yeah, you got a lot of guest singers in the film, like Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, James Brown. But then you also got the Blues Brothers. He got the Blues Brothers covering the songs themselves. So you got like "Give Me Some Lovin'," "Shake a Tail Feather," "Everybody Needs Somebody to Love." You got "Think" from Aretha Franklin. You got the theme from Rawhide that they sing at the country bar. Cab Calloway is on it singing "Minnie the Moocher," which is like one of his big hits. My favorite song on the soundtrack is "Sweet Home Chicago," and then at the finale of the film, they're singing "Jailhouse Rock." Prior to the film and after their stint on SNL, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi actually toured as the Blues Brothers for real and actually made, I think, 4 studio albums as the Blues Brothers, where they covered a lot of these like popular blues songs. So like it was a legit thing before they even did the movie in 1980. But it is a funny film, good film, classic comedy, and great soundtrack. So Mike, what's your list though?
Mine is the animated cartoon Transformers the movie.
You got the touch. You got the touch. You got the power. You got the power.
That'd be stupid. That'd be stupid. I'm looking up now because we don't have this on our list right now. So,
but it's a
Transformers. I can't type because I'm drunk. I'm trying to type, but it's not coming out so well. Transformers the movie, 1986 film. Soundtrack. Let's see here. Soundtrack. Transformers the movie soundtrack. Let's see, what do we got? What songs do we got on here? We got The Touch from Stan Bush. Instruments of Destruction from NRG, Death of Optimus Prime, Dare, which is the what's his name song, Weird Al Yankovic song.
Dare to be stupid.
Yeah. Dare to be stupid. Dare to be stupid. Yeah, this is a fun CD. This is I'm glad you added this one to the
Dare.
because it's a
No,
fun.
I
Dare
thought
is
this was from the 2007 film, and I'm looking at
no Dare's a different
Linkin
song.
Park.
Dare to be stupid. Yeah, Dare and Dare to be stupid are two separate songs on the.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at the album now. There's Dare and Dare to Be Stupid.
I think Dare
Dare-
was is Hot Rod's
Dare-
song at the beginning.
Yeah, because it's the same singer, Stan Bush, who does the Touch song.
Yeah, because I
You
think
got
that's
the
when you're introduced to Hot Rod as he's driving through at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, that's Dare.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a fun one to add to the end of the list there.
Yep.
I still have it on DVD.
So do I.
And then Kev, what's the last one you added to your list there?
All right, so this isn't popular by any means, but I enjoy it.
I've seen it on a lot of lists when I was looking up for
Did you?
movies. I saw that on a lot of lists. Yeah.
Okay.
I did too. I saw it on a lot of lists.
Wow. Okay, so this was from 1992, The Crow, the original soundtrack from The Crow. If you've ever seen the graphic novel or the graphic novel, the music plays so much of a part of James O'Barr's comic of the Crow, of the graphic novel. So he uses The Cure. He uses Joy Division. Like the music is like a character in itself in the comic. So to watch the movie and to listen to the music that was included, The Cure, you hear Burn from The Cure, you think The Crow. This was maybe Stone Temple Pilots. I'm not going to say this was their introduction, but this was a popular song, The Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots at the time. Got me into Nine Inch Nails, got me into Rage Against the Machine. But I can enjoy the entirety of the album,
Yeah, Violent Femmes, Rollins Band,
Femmes, right?
Pantera.
Rollins Band. Yes, exactly.
This is like a who's who of like 90s hard rock.
Yes.
Mhm.
Go like teetering on goth rock,
Kinda, yeah.
So by listening to that, it got me into so the Matrix soundtrack, and Rage is on that, is Rob Zombie, as is everything else.
Oh, that's another one that got to go in the shout out one,
Isn't
man.
that a good
Matrix.
one?
Matrix is a great one.
Man, I thought of this album and it ignited Underworld, because that had a lot of good songs on it. There was just, I don't think I went through a goth phase. I definitely know my wardrobe didn't know that I was, into this. But yeah, I liked a lot of it got me into Nine Inch Nails. It got me into Underworld, got me into A Perfect Circle, which got me into System of a Down, and just I spiraled from there. I really got into some of this music.
I agree with you said with like the Matrix too, because Matrix kind of got me into like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah,
bands
right.
like that. Yeah. So
a little drunk.
I know I'm very drunk. I know we missed a lot of movies tonight, but I did put together a little honorable mention list as we were working on this. So I have these movies on my list so far. I got Good Morning Vietnam, had a really great soundtrack.
Really great one.
Another one of those like war soundtracks. I got Mike, after you talked about Highlander, I thought of this one, Flash Gordon, which is also a Queen soundtrack.
I thought they only did the one song.
Yeah, but I still count it. I have the Bronx Tale on here because after I was talking about like some of the songs on Goodfellas, it made me think of Bronx Tale. Pitch Perfect, the a cappella movie with Anna Kendrick, had some really good songs in it. You're gonna laugh at me for adding this one, but the movie sucks, but the soundtrack's actually really good. It's Trolls, which is also an Anna Kendrick film, an animated film. I added Ferris Bueller's Day Off for those really good Howard Hughes films that Mike likes. John Hughes. And then I added one, even though there's really only one song that is kind of memorable from this movie, it made me laugh when I thought of it. So I was like, I'm going to throw it on the honorable mentions. Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Tequila.
Now, here's a few for you, Lee. If you're going to go about Queen, you have to go with Iron Eagle. And another one that I thought of as we're going through this. Two more that I thought of. Apocalypse Now.
Uh-huh.
They're a real good soundtrack. And Lost Boys.
Lost Boys is a great soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack.
Platoon had a really good soundtrack too. It was that very like 60s rock soundtrack. So before
Hold on. Before we don't move on. Don't move on.
I'm not moving on.
Kevin has his honorable mentions.
What's your honorable mention?
Well, I was thinking because again, when Mike mentioned Highlander, I was thinking that this soundtrack kind of reignited an interest in the band Queen was Wayne's World.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, the whole driving and listening to Bohemian Rhapsody scene.
Yep.
You know, and now I'm looking at it here. We have Red Hot Chili Peppers. You got Black Sabbath.
Yep.
You gotta think like, and
Lady.
the band that Tia Carrera sings with in the film covers a lot of really good songs too, like Ballroom Blitz and all that. Yeah, that's a really good soundtrack too, Wayne's World.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to share my screen with you real quick so I can show you the slide presentation I put together for our shout-outs because we had so many shout-outs. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's very small. Let me make
That's all right. I'm just going to read them out to you anyway because there were so many of them. I'm just going to kind of like fly through them real quickly if I can. So on Reddit, Rich Vocals 80 gave us Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Bronx Tale, Breakfast Club, and Breakin'.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 of those we talked about already. Breakin' is one I've seen on some other lists. I haven't actually seen Breakin', nor have I seen Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, so I can't really...
You ain't seen the Electric Boogaloo?
I can't attest to that, you know. Also on Reddit, we have, in terms of pure score, Spirited Away, which is a Miyazaki animated film from Ghibli Studios. It's a very good movie, but yeah, it's more of a score than it is a soundtrack.
Right, and I want to cover scores down the road because I got a lot of artists that I would put down.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that somewhere in the future. But for actual soundtracks, they went with Pulp Fiction, no question.
Okay.
Also on Reddit, we have Petit Font. Yeah, the La Vida Más Chevée podcast gives us Reality Bites. Empire Records, another good one. The Crow and Dirty Dancing. Which I said, like, I'm not a big fan of the movie, but it is a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Sharon Ahona gave us Empire Records.
A very good one.
Also on Instagram, the movie guy.
Manning Day too.
Yeah, the movie guy gave us Judgment Night. The movie is a weird movie. It stars Dennis Leary and Emilio Estevez. It's kind of like a cult film from the 90s. But it has a very much like who's who of like 90s rappers on the soundtrack, which is really cool. An American Graffiti, which I talked about. We got Forrest Gump, of course, from Stephen M on Instagram, and Machine Gun Cards on Instagram said, if you're talking from a who is on the soundtrack, Judgment Night. If it's from a song aspect, the logical choice is Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
This is on Facebook. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is on Twitter, X. This is Richard at R. Lewis Philly, who said, I searched for the Mortal Kombat. Don't interrupt me. There's a really good dad joke here. Hold on. I searched for the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, but all I can find were Finnish hymns.
Good job, Richard. Well done.
He then goes on to say, gotta say, this podcast kills it. So not only thank you for the shout out, but thank you for the compliment as well.
Yes.
And as a thank you, I threw his post over here of his profile on Twitter. He is the host of the Street Curb Curiosity podcast. So check out Richard's podcast if you can.
What better song could you work out to than the Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat.
I told him about how my bridal party at my wedding walked into the reception to the Mortal Kombat theme. So on Reddit, we had Rich Stocks gave us Labyrinth. He said also said Euphoria soundtrack. He goes, I know it's not a movie, but a TV show, but I'm obsessed with it.
I will have to look that up.
Yeah, these are all on Reddit. I told you I got a lot of Reddit responses. Drap 3TO says The Fountain for sure. Death is the Road to Awe is incredible. The whole soundtrack slaps. Resident Belmont says clearly the Blues Brothers. Rich Rocks Dan says I come from the world of rock and my favorite soundtracks are Dracula 2000, Little Nicky, Queen of the Damned, The Resident Evil, The Crow, and Scorpion King.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He said we got Loopy Paladin, who is a podcaster himself on Reddit, says, I'm amazed that I haven't seen Baby Driver on this list yet. And I agree. That is a really good sign.
And I was thinking about Driver, too, because I think Driver's got a pretty awesome
Drive, yeah. With
Drive, right.
Gosling, yeah,
right.
that's got a really good
Gosling,
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Baby Driver's got a cool soundtrack.
Yeah,
Batman, 1989 Batman from
I
Many
own
Faces.
that cassette, man. Prince.
Yeah.
The Bat
great
Dance.
soundtrack. So that's Manny Faces on Reddit said 1989 Batman. But get back to the Baby Driver one. It's cool how the songs in the movie are choreographed to the driving scenes, which is really cool. Mr. Q-Ted on Reddit says Interstellar. He goes, I'm sure I misunderstood. He goes, I'm sure I misunderstood the question, but I stand by it.
It's a fantastic score. It's one that I listen to, but it's
Reality Ops on Reddit said 51st Dates.
Man, that is taking 80s and like reggae and mixing the two, and I own it, and it's awesome. It is a quintessential summer album. Yeah.
You can also throw in The Wedding Singer there too if you want like a really good 80s soundtrack of Adam Sandler films.
Right, but what I liked about 51st Dates was 80s music done in a reggae style.
Yeah. Reddit, we got No Subs, No Dubs, who says, well, not the best, but I'll always remember the music and Who Killed Captain Alex from 2010. I about crapped myself from laughing when the first time the cover of Kiss from a Rose played. Did a review of the movie on my own podcast. Highly recommend watching the movie. I never heard this movie, so I checked it out the other day. It was only an hour long. It's a film from Uganda. It is written, directed, and performed by the same guy. It's filmed sort of like a documentary. And the funniest thing about it is there's a guy narrating the film and translating Ugandan into English for you, but kind of adding his own comments in as you're watching it. And it's sort of like it almost has like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 feel to it. We got a Sleep Win 6983 who says Forrest Gump, pretty awesome. We obviously agree with that. Also on Reddit, we have Tequila on Me says the Twilight series, ethereal and mystical. The soundtrack alone makes the movies worth watching. I don't know
That's
about
Adrian.
that. I don't know about that, but thank you for the.
I don't know their soundtrack, so I'd have to look into it. But
A lot of it's just music.
if they're talking about scores, I'm sure some scores are amazing.
We got also on Reddit Danger Zone Duffman who said, please credit me as the Underrated Movie Podcast. You got it. The Underrated Movie Podcast on Reddit. His favorites are Superbad from 2007, which has a really, really good soundtrack. Blackberry from 2023. I haven't seen the film yet, so I'm not sure. I have to check it out. Drive, which we just mentioned from 2011, the Ryan Gosling film, and The Bourne Identity from 2002. Also, a lot of young adult adaptations of great soundtracks, including the Twilight films.
Okay.
And we have 15K Random Movie Review who said Shawshank Redemption.
I want to say Shawshank is Thomas Newman. I'm going to have to look it up right away. It is. Right. I love Thomas Newman shit.
Yeah.
I mean, great for scores, but yeah.
Great score. There are a couple songs in the film that are kind of cool too. Rob Rock Lee agrees with me on Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Replay Rewind Podcast said his favorites are Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Queen of the Damned. I'm going to have to check those out myself because I don't know for sure. Like, I know Austin Powers, but I don't remember too much about the soundtrack. Queen of the Damned, I'd have to say I'm a little short on that one. But those were our shout-outs. A lot of shout-outs on Reddit. Thank you, everybody who contributed for doing that for us. We appreciate it. Make sure you keep listening to the episode. Make sure you download. Help us keep those downloads up. We thank you for supporting the show. Mike, you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
Actually, give me a
Hurry up, Mike. I'm desperate to finish this episode. I got to pee so fucking bad.
Well, if I were to say,
take your time, Mike.
Actually, I have something a little different tonight.
Okay.
I've got a little story. A shot of whiskey. In the Old West, a .45 cartridge for a 6-gun cost 12 cents. So did a glass of whiskey. If a cowhand was low on cash, he often gave the bartender a cartridge in exchange for a drink. This became known as the shot of whiskey.
All right. You ever get that where you have to pee so bad your body starts shivering? I've reached that moment. After 5
What's the name of this episode?
mason jars full of moonshine, I'm ready to go here.
What's the name of that?
So let's talk about our drinks then real quick. I enjoyed mine, obviously. I drank 5 of them. I had some Old Smoky strawberry moonshine, very, very tasty. Mixed it with a little bit of Sprite. Didn't seem to matter. I'm still fucking drunk. Mike, what were you drinking?
I was drinking, what was I drinking? Strawberry lemonade with strawberry lemonade whiskey.
I was enjoying gin and tonics. I had sent a text to my wife to see if she could deliver another, and she was walking the dog, but she came up with one, so I had an additional one that I didn't expect. So I'm up to 3. I'm probably not going to stop there tonight because I'm on break, so I don't care.
I still want to know what the name of this episode is.
The name of this episode is episode 155, Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks.
There's a little slur going on there. But
thank you for joining us tonight for episode 155, Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Remember, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit us at linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media podcast links. Again, thank you to everybody on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit, especially, who sent out submissions to our episode for tonight. We appreciate you shouting out to us, and we shout it out right back to you. Don't forget you support us on Patreon and by buying our merchandise at teespring.com or finding us at the Deluxe Edition Network, The Den, deluxeeditionnetwork.com, featuring us, a number of other podcasts, and the podcast of the month, History I'd Like to Fuck with Don Brodey. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time around. Episode 156 is going to be dropping on July 2nd. So we're going to be doing a July 4th special episode. We're going to be revisiting Independence Day from 1996, the Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith classic.
I could have been at a barbecue.
We'll see which one of the 3 of us can quote that great Bill Pullman speech without looking at it.
How was that smell?
So don't forget to stop by the Crossroads for Pick and Fermented the next time around for episode 156, revisiting Independence Day. Once again, I'm pretty sure I'm Leo.
Almost certain I'm Kevin.
I might still be Mike. I don't know.
And as far as I know, you've been listening to the Films and Fermentation Podcast, episode 155, Sonorous Cinematic Soundtracks. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Cheers. We'll see you around.
Cheers.
Cheers.